Alright, welcome to episode 46 of What a Civilization Started Over. In the last episode then we had the Swedish conquer the entirety of the old pinkish red country that used to be up in the North Arctic sort of area. We had a war occur in the Middle East where the Turkish officially ended the Mesopotamian Empire, which is now split into 4 different nations, a yellow, pink, orangey and bluish country. And we had another war, but I forgot which one that was. So that was clever. No, we did have another war, and it was over here in India, and it's the Odisha country, who is now gone. And Myanmar, Bengal, attacked that country, along with the red team, who apparently has another major city over there. That country is now gone. The green team also got a bit of land, but along with that, we also saw this country, this random Samani sort of country, join the Bengali alliance because they were afraid that they also could get attacked. Anyway, in today's episode we've got much of the same, lots of little wars, and some big ones I suppose. And first off we're going to be going to Sweden. This is kind of predictable. Why did I do that? I don't know. But yeah, Sweden's going on another conquest. They seem to be doing quite a lot of that in this recent time. But they'll be crossing over the Atlantic Ocean once again, and this time they're going to be invading the nation of Newfoundland. It's a very new country who's really done absolutely nothing, but Swedish troops arrive in the northern part of the island. They quickly navally invade and take the capital city before a second invasion takes the remaining major city of the nation, which is pretty poor, and after that it will capitulate. Lots of people within the country wanted to join the Swedish Empire because they would have such a nicer life under Sweden rather than being their own country, so many saw this as a good choice. Yeah, so that's what happens there, and the entire country will join the empire along with all these silly islands down there. Nice. The Polish also have a colony as well, if you're interested. I suppose they're not really going to expand that because they don't care about their colonies very much. It's very new and it's not something that they made, it's something that the Germans made, and the Germans aren't represented quite as much as the Polish within the Polish Empire, if that makes sense. So there we go. But the Swedish will expand their own colony over here because they very much care about just being a strong country with a load of territory. They want to be better than the Danes, and already they're not in the top 10, but Denmark definitely was. So get that good, and you might be good enough. We're going to head over to another Arctic sort of empire over here with the Koreans. They haven't expanded their empire in a while, but today they're going to do that, getting down all the way to about the border with the United States. A lot of their territory is actually in the US, up in the northern part, but they finally take over the Vancouver area and the entire coast of British Columbia, so that's good. They just have a really weird looking colony that's like super long. Anyway, we'll leave them with that, and we head over back to Europe and take out the major cities there, and then put it back on because it's time for another war. But this time we're going to go to Ukraine. The Ukrainians, they're allied to the Turkish. They're almost definitely a top 15 country. They are very strong. That was unhelpful. Very strong at this point. They've managed to consolidate power over all these different territories they've annexed, a load of coastline, and today they're going to be going after a country with no coastline. So that's not too helpful, probably. The country they're going to be attacking is, of course, the bluish country right over here. They are a country who's done absolutely nothing. In terms of ideology, they have an absolute monarchy. They've never been to war. They're not part of the, whatever it's called, Druidic Bloc. And yeah, there's no one who really cares about them. So Ukrainian troops move across the border, taking 2 major cities. I think they might be on a trade route. Never mind, they're not. This country has nothing going on. And quickly spearhead out to capture a 3rd one, and then the 4th one, which is very close by, before just taking the capital city. There's, as I said before, not a whole lot going on in this nation, so it doesn't take too long for the Swedish to just fully capitulate the country, and following the surrender of this nation, quite predictably, we see Sweden annex it into its own empire, so there's a pretty cool new northern border for Sweden. I do really like that for them. Yeah, don't know, just a random little war, but let's do a slightly bigger war because we need to go back to the alliance layer, and the Spanish will be adding a new country to their own alliance. And that country is actually going to be, I need to find the shape first, parallelogram alliance, there we go, the southern French country. This country is another one who's not really done a whole lot. They attacked the Salmon country a while ago, along the Rhineland nation, and they might have been in a few other wars. They've really just not done a whole lot on the global stage, but today they're going to be going to war. They are a bit afraid of other countries in the region, and they want to be the dominant power in this region. That's the main reason that they joined this parallelogram alliance, but they also want Spanish aid in helping them go to war with the country, and that country is going to be this other purple southern French nation. These two are pretty big rivals. They're equally strength, pretty much. So with Spanish aid, this country is going to be able to defeat them, and yeah, they send their military in. The Spanish will not be sending their military in because they don't need to get this land, but this country does, because then it'll make them twice as strong. Luckily for the southern French, they are right near the border of the other southern French, capital I mean. So they quickly take that, but this alerts the northern French, wow, this is not complicated at all, that they really should join this war. So they begin a massive spearhead towards some of these major cities, and they really want to connect down with the Mediterranean coast. They start to work their way along the Spanish border, and there's a huge race for this major city, but the people of the purple country are much more against the people of the bluish country, or white team, I suppose, and in fact they're just weaker than the other French country. So in the end, France will take this major city and connect up with the Mediterranean Sea coastline. Up in the north they protect their major city, although it wasn't that much in danger, and in not too long we see the complete capitulation of this purple nation. So, what was that? What is that? What is that? I just scored something, and I don't know what it means. Cool. Anyway, yeah, I do not know what that is, but I'll investigate it one day. We can now go over to a peace deal, which is probably going to be pretty normal looking. The French, I think, are going to have quite a historic border, as they'll bring back an old border that the old French country had. That's how historic works. The rest of it will go over to the others of the French. I might change this, it depends how good it looks, but I'm pretty sure that this bit in the south, the old French used to have, and then the Romans took it away. Or was it further along? I don't really remember. Have their own border on the Mediterranean Sea. I might get them a bit more than that, to be honest. I might change up this border just a little bit. After they've done the peace treaty, they do a secondary draft to make it look nicer. So the other southern French get this, whilst the green French country is able to take these two provinces, which are definitely a lot more valuable. So that was a terrible deal for the southern French, but they go with it. I'd argue that looks a lot worse. So yeah, we're just going to go back to what it was before. They really go against the deal. They're like, actually that was a terrible idea. I got no profit from that. But now the white only southern French country is now the only southern French country. They're a lot more powerful, and they should be a pretty valuable ally to the Spanish. Also, if you live in the Balearic country, you should be very afraid, because you're entirely surrounded by the blue country, the white country, and the Spanish country, who are all allies. Yeah, maybe find yourself some allies, like the Triangle Alliance, or the Diamond Alliance over here, or just do nothing, and be an island country. Speaking of places with lots of islands, Sweden and Finland. The Finnish and the Swedish are just getting angry at each other. When the Swedish tried to get their independence from the Danish Empire, the Finns had a major plan of trying to just influence these guys to be an ally and a Druidic country, just like the Finns are. And that failed horrifically. When the Polish were going in their big war, the Finns tried to intervene and get like some sort of Druidic elements into the country, and that failed horribly. The Finns have just attempted over and over again to influence these other stronger countries over here in Eastern Europe to fall under the Druidic group, and it's just gone miserably for them. And now this stuff is starting to be unveiled, and the interferences and all this sort of behind the back stuff that the Finnish and Druidic Alliance has been doing, which consists of Finland, the Latvian country, St. Petersburg or Ingria, this yellow nation, and this red country. So these five guys have been interfering in stuff like major food chains. No, only joking. Anyway, get it because it says five guys. Anyway, shut up. They've been interfering in things all around the world, and the Swedish and the Polish will sign a mutual agreement to work together. It's not really an alliance, but they'll just sign a mutual agreement against the Druidic countries. Like, we don't like you guys, and if you guys attack us, we're going to attack you. So I should probably make something for that. I'm not really sure I'll make it like a temporary sort of alliance. There you go. We can have a right triangle alliance. That's the world map. Wrong layer again. But yeah, these two countries are very much against this thing now. They think that, Finland could overpower Sweden easily just by itself, and this entire alliance could definitely weaken Poland enough that, they would all recover a lot quicker than Poland would, and, Poland could get taken down by someone else, like the Polish or Turkish alliance, who borders them in two different ways. Yeah, it just wouldn't be very advantageous for either of these guys to try and fight this entire alliance by itself. Speaking of alliances, though, we're finally going to make the Druidic Alliance its own official thing. I'm going to call it the Pentagon Alliance. So all these countries were finally doing something that they should have done ages ago. This really should have been part of this a really long time ago, but it wasn't. So, sorry about that. Yep, all 5 of these guys joined the Pentagon Alliance, and Europe is now full of alliances. They have 5 different alliances in Europe. So Europe is the most alliance-filled continent in the world. Over in Asia, we've got 3, but Europe 5. That's a lot. If you think about it, a lot of these alliances also carry over to the Americas as well, but I haven't put any there because I don't really need to. So I'm going to keep them over here. But I'm just putting ideas out there. We could potentially see the right-angled triangle and the Pentagon alliances go to war in the next episode. I wouldn't know because I don't decide what happens in this. It's outside of my control, but if I was a betting man, I might try and bet on that. Anyway, let's go over to Poland. Poland, we were talking about them just now. They are going to be going to war. I have done power rankings. Let's do that first. They're not going to go to war anymore. Number 1 is, of course, Turkey. They got a load of pretty valuable territory from the Mesopotamian Empire. Load of cities over here, and desert, but don't mind that. And second is, of course, the Spanish, and third is, of course, Poland. Southern India is in 4th, and in 5th it's Bengal. Korea has fallen a pretty long way to 6th, but they're still pretty strong. Orange China's actually trying to catch up at this point, and getting close, in 7th. The Indigo countries in 9th, 8th, and England, entering the top 10 for the first time, is in 9th. They could be swapped with Finland. They're very, very close. The Finland's in 10th and number 11, just out of fun. It's the Irish country. They have a lot of valuable colonies. You can grow so much stuff, like sugar, like loads of plantations all across their colonial empire here in the south. And they've also got most of Ireland and some maybe valuable parts of Scotland. Maybe they like oil earlier, like in the 1767, they discovered their uses of oil. Actually, the Industrial Revolution did start 17 years ago, so maybe it's slightly becoming useful now. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, there's the power rankings. Other countries who are approaching the top 10 position: Ethiopia, Egypt, Ukraine. Anyone else? France, maybe. Sweden, they're potentially getting close. Euralia's always been kind of close. Apart from that, though, maybe Guangxi. This country is just land. India, in Carthage. There they are countries to look out for, just in case. Anyone else in Europe? Oh, the Dutch. The Dutch are a good point. The Latvians are kind of strong. Most of the other countries are kind of mid. Really. Oh, Hungary's meh. They're probably just above meh. Anyway, I was going to talk about Poland, so let's go back to talking about Poland, shall we? Great. 1767. I wonder when this era is going to be ending and going into a new era. Poland is going to be attacking one of the poorest nations on Earth because Poland is just mean like that. And the unfortunate country, who's actually quite fortunate really, is this greyish country. They have no major cities apart from their capital, so what Poland does is instantly take their capital. They used to be part of the old Swiss country. It was all this area and up into here a bit. But yeah, then they were these 3 nations. Here's the old Swiss country, the orange and the grey one. They were one country, and then they split into 3 following episode 20. Anyway, the Polish immediately just absolutely annihilate this country. I really think these guys are a military. They're probably just chilling. The grey country probably didn't even have the military. Their but their sibling country, the Orange Nation, will also join the war just a few days before it ends, because there's no way this country is living any longer than a week. This invasion only takes a while because of the terrain in this country, which is relatively hard to traverse. Anyway, the orange country did absolutely nothing in the war, so what they get is absolutely nothing, getting this very small problem. Yeah, look at the provinces in this country, they're kind of weird. It's strange. Anyway, the orange team gets this very small bit. What was that? A very small bit of land down here, along with the weird exclave thing, whilst the rest of this country is transferred over to Poland, and we can probably give it a new image city, just because we're going to be nice today. Let's give it image city. There you go. Yeah, so Poland's expanded a very small bit, but kind of makes the borders a little bit better, potentially. And that's where I'm probably going to leave it for today's episode. So, if you enjoyed watching today's episode, like, subscribe, comment. We're on 95 subscribers, which is, it may not sound like a lot, but we are only 5 away from 100, which is been my goal for the entire time I've had this YouTube channel. So it would mean a lot if you can subscribe and get me there. So yeah, have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye.